whether they live in the community or grew up in the community or directly associated as well too. All right. And then we have Mr. Cruz, Gary Cruz. He's
Good morning.
Our counselor. Good morning. He is going to be helping us with interpretation this morning as well too. So we are going to be able to go ahead and get him going. Um, Gary, I don't have the interpreter globe. Do you have that? Is it popped up for you?
No, it did not pop up.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see. I might have to do a little moving around. I'm not my co-host yet.
I can raise my hand though.
I'll work with Lori. I know that's well, actually, she probably knows how to do that too. But yeah, we were practicing this morning. There's something about Chromebooks and Zoom. They're limiting.
It's interesting how Zoom goes to the next level if you use a Mac.
It says that it says the interpreter is not joined yet.
Right. So what did I do, Gary? Oh my gosh, now I'm trying to remember. Did I move you over as an attendee and then invite you as an interpreter?
I believe it was a panelist, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on.
If you want to make me host, I can do that too.
Yeah, hold on 1 minute. I got all of your, all the other admins are co-hosts. Once I make you host, I have no control over anything. So that was
then maybe
my
not.
hold back for that.
Sure.
Add interpreter. It says just, oh no, don't need that. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do this.
So the board meeting tomorrow is just. I couldn't do it.
Clara Amity, could one of you forward the email, the YouTube link to staff so that they know they have that as well?
No problem.
Okay, I sent all the administrators the link for the YouTube. I'm still trying to work on the interpreter. Give me another moment.
You bet. Before we officially get started too, just want to congratulate all of you about to graduates or recently graduating and looking to get into grad work on top of that as well. It's amazing, 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 amazing. And I'm just trying to picture how it would be if I was in your shoes at this time as well too, doing this all virtually as well. I'm sure there are some benefits, like you don't have to go to class, but then the interaction piece, Camille, I was thinking about you especially too, like trying to do lab work. Like, what's this supposed to look like? That must be something else as well too. So new challenges. They're going to be writing books about our time, well, not only politically, especially politically.
Mr. Cruz, can I ask you to just log out, leave the meeting, and then come back in? You should have received an interpreter link. I'm not sure why it's not coming. And then let's see if we can make it work that way.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry, thank you.
No problem.
It says he's an interpreter, but I said he hasn't joined the meeting yet.
You know what I tried doing too was inviting him, and then.
Also, you have some participants that are raising their hand on and off. So I don't know if that should be one of your first announcements about the hand raising or how you're going to address that, just so you know.
Awesome. So Lori, I did remember moving Gary as an attendee, and then promoting him to panelist, and then from there hitting the interpreter, clicking that, and then from there typing him in as the interpreter for English to Spanish. Ooh, there we go.
I see you nodding your head. I'm assuming you're good to go.
Yep.
Right on.
The glow came up. Thank you so much, Bert.
All right, Mr. Cruz, as soon as you click over to Espanol, we're going to be ready to roll. So just give me a thumbs up, and then we can go from there. All right, awesome. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mr. Camacho. I'm the principal
Buenos
of
días a
Cesar
todos.
Chavez Middle
Yo soy
School.
el señor Camacho, el director de César Chávez.
And today we have the privilege of welcoming some students that are a part of our UC system. But before we get into their introduction, I do want to make sure to welcome our principals from Hillview Crest, Ms. Stella Castillo, as well as from Emmanuel, Mr. Puckett. And then Ms. Bocage will join us when she gets a chance to as well. But we also have with us assistant principals, Ms. Defai and Ms. Zapata. All right. Para los alumnos que hablan español, si vas por abajo en la página de Zoom, hay un globo donde puedes marcar español, y eso es donde puedes oír el señor Cruz. El señor Cruz va a hablar hoy en español para ustedes también, ¿ok? So tienes que ir abajo de la página y otra vez tienes que marcar el globo y puedes oír el señor Cruz. All right, with that said, today is February 1st, so that is the start of Black History Month. We are going to ask that you look out for messages soon from our schools regarding a contest to honor our heroes and sheroes of the past by creating a short TikTok or YouTube video. And each week there will be a new contest theme, and winners will receive a $25 Amazon gift card. So please make sure to look out for messages from your principals or activity director in regards to this contest in honor of Black History Month. With that said, today wouldn't actually be able to happen without our organizer, who is Dr. Malmei Liu from the Department of Demography at UC Berkeley. She's the person that has coordinated us with these fantastic rising stars and students. So with that said, let's see, she's not in there, which is fine. Let me go ahead and do our introductions. First is Camille Fang. Camille Fang is proud to be the daughter of Filipino immigrants and was born and raised in Union City. After graduating from Logan High School, she earned her associate's degree at Chabot College. Camille is a first-year transfer student pursuing a bachelor's degree in human biology and global health at the University of California, San Diego. During her short time at UCSD, she started her own pre-health club and joined the School Students Council in the hopes of keeping her peers well informed of current events and empowering them to advocate for student needs. She is also leading her own research project studying the comorbidities of HIV and AIDS with COVID-19. In the future, Camille hopes to one day go to medical school and become an oncologist. Yes. Next, we have Lupita Romo Gonzalez. Lupita is the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants and agricultural workers. She was raised in Salinas, California, and is a first-generation college graduate from UC Berkeley, where she majored in sociology and minored in Chicanx, Latinx studies, and public policy. While at UC Berkeley, Lupita formed part of the various research projects where she analyzed how education opportunities can be improved for first-generation, low-income, and students of color. Her combined research interests and personal experiences in the public education system challenged her to advocate for education equity at an institutional and federal level through her involvement with the Puente program and LEDA Policy Corps. Currently, Lupita is a policy intern on the higher education team at New America and plans to enroll in a graduate program this fall. These are lots of words that you'll be hearing about from the new administration, the new Biden administration. Aaron Solorio is a first-generation, non-traditional transfer student who is pursuing a bachelor's degree in sociology at the University of California, Berkeley. He was born and raised in Sonoma County, but his roots stem from Michoacan, Mexico. Most of his high school education was received at a continuation high school, where he graduated in 2012. He enrolled at Santa Rosa Junior College in 2015 and graduated in May 2018, and has been at UC Berkeley since the spring of 2019. Throughout his time at Berkeley, he has participated in various research programs, been involved in numerous student organizations, and is currently a Haas public service leader. He is set to graduate this May and plans on applying to graduate school in the coming fall. So welcome everyone. We're really proud and happy to have you here. Camille, we're going to start off with you. We'll jump right into our questions. Why did you select your major and what profession do you plan to enter?
So as you saw in the introduction before, I'm currently studying human biology and global health right now. And I guess one of the main contributors to me choosing these majors was, I guess my mom, for one. She's a night shift nurse right now. And for the past, I guess, 20 years, she's been working there. It's always been really inspiring to see how hard she works. And I know it's not the career that she was looking to do at first, but she's found some peace with it. And the fact that she's grown to love it was something that really inspired me. Another story that really kind of like shifted me towards medicine was actually my aunt who got cancer back when I was in middle school. She was diagnosed with it back when I was in 6th grade. And I didn't really know what it meant back then, not until like her symptoms kept getting worse and I didn't really understand what was going on. So fast forward to high school, I go to study human anatomy and physiology, and I was just really fascinated with the science behind it. And I was just like, wow, this is something I really want to do. So that's how I decided that I wanted to do medicine. And ultimately, when I came to UCSD and I decided I wanted to study human biology, I also realized I kind of wanted to delve more into health disparities as well, just because I didn't realize like how much they really mattered. I was always so focused about like the science of everything, and I just really wanted to know more about like what other people struggled with, because I did not necessarily have those struggles as well.
Awesome, thank you, Camille. Lupita, same question for you. Why did you select your major and what profession do you plan to enter?
So I selected to major in sociology, and when I was in high school, I was involved with my community and I was getting to see firsthand a lot of the issues that I was experiencing when I was growing up, whether in school and the healthcare system in my community. And I heard of the major, I heard of the program sociology. So when I got to Cal, I enrolled in a sociology class. And for me, that was the first time that I was able to understand a lot of the experiences I had growing up, especially in the education system at a more systemic level. And I really enjoyed that sociology class in combination with my ethnic studies courses, which was the first time I really got to learn or see a lot of my stories reflected in theories, reflected in research. And that was when I really knew, okay, I'm interested in this field. I want to continue studying and really immerse myself into the scholar work so that I can understand what issues are affecting my community the most, and I can develop the tools and the knowledge necessary for me to be able to return to my community and have that expertise and have that experience built on, so that I can really help dismantle a lot of the education inequities and health disparities that I was seeing firsthand as well. And so I plan to continue going to school and continue developing myself professionally. I want to be in the education sector. So as a research scholar, professor, mentor, whatever it is, I'm trying to figure that out as I go, but that's my plan, to stay involved in the education system.
All right, Aaron, your turn. Why did you select your major and what profession do you plan to enter?
Thank you. So buenos días a todos. So I'm currently majoring in sociology. And the reason that I chose sociology was mostly because of my professors. When I first started at community college, um, I hadn't taken any sociology courses, but I grew this great relationship with one of my professors, who soon became a professor. And he just started asking me about my life and the things that I have been through. And he brought a lot of understanding of like everything that I had gone through. And I never knew that there was theories or terminologies for things that myself and my loved ones had experienced. So when I enrolled in his courses and throughout the courses that I had taken in community college, I just came to like to have a fond appreciation for sociology. Um, and since then, I started, reading more, just learning more, and just making more sense of my lived experience. And um, since then, I fell in love with it. And uh, a profession that I want to enter is to one day be a professor at a community college or at a university, just to continue, disseminating knowledge and to producing knowledge as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next question. We'll start off with Camille. Were there any obstacles in college or life that made you want to quit? And this is specifically speaking about either getting into college or just making it through college.
So for me, I think one of the hardest challenges I had was going into college because applying to college senior year of high school, I literally got rejected everywhere. I applied to like almost all of the UCs, and I only got into the CSUs I wanted to go to. And ultimately, I just felt like I was being left behind because all my friends were going to really great places like Berkeley, Davis, Irvine. I was just like, wow, like I was really happy for them, like genuinely, but I just felt like, I wasn't making the same step forward that they were. And so like when I was continuing community college, when I started my first year, it just kind of felt like I was in a zone kind of. I was just going through the motions, just sleep, eat, go to work, go to class. That's it. I felt like I had lost like all passion that I used to have. And I think for me, I think I just needed to like find something that needed to like really shift my gears. And so going into like my second year of college, I decided I decided to go to two colleges at once just because of like how my requirements were. And that was because I wanted to continue sports like I had back when I was younger. So I decided to run on my school's track and field team at Chabot. And that really gave me more motivation, some more energy to really just push myself even more. And the fact that I was surrounding myself with people who were so like-minded and also wanted to do the same for themselves really kind of saved me from that little pit I had my first year. So yeah, and then I think right now, like even through going to college right now, I think everybody still has that struggle of like I believe Lupita you've graduated, but Aaron and I were still trying to get through these last few semesters and quarters, just hopefully, just because COVID's been rough. It's really like what you said, Principal Camacho. It's really hard to like not focus when you don't have that same interaction. You can't meet with your friends to study, and I mean I have my roommate, but there's only so much you can do when you're studying online. So yeah, hopefully this will all be over soon.
Lupita, what about you? Were there any obstacles in college or life that made you want to quit?
Yeah, I think there's many, but I think we we kind of have to figure out how to get through them. And something that's definitely helped me get through them is building my support system. So relying, thankfully, I'm very grateful to have very supportive parents and very supportive family members, as well as mentors, professors, friends who've helped me along the way. And I think that's what's helped me keep going. But along the way, even getting to college as a first generation college student, so being unfamiliar with the system. My parents, fortunately, I was part of the migrant program. So very early on, my parents were very involved in my education, and they were asking questions, and that taught me to ask questions as well and advocate for myself. And that's what's helped me get through along the way. But one particular instance was my first semester at Cal when I was enrolled in my first college English class, and English is my second language. I've always struggled. I've always been very self-conscious of my writing and of my speaking of the language. And I remember just thinking I was going to quit. I thought I was going to drop out. I didn't think I would be able to make it through that class because it was challenging at another level. I think I felt imposter syndrome, how I had never felt that before. I really did feel like I didn't belong. And I remember like almost every day after class, just coming to my dorm and sharing with my roommates, you know what, I don't think I'm going to make it. Like, this is really hard. And it was difficult. I really thought I was going to fail the class. I wasn't going to stay in college, and I feel like a failure. But I think going back to tapping into my resources, tapping into my support systems and checking in with them and letting them know what was going on. And then from there on, expanding that network of resources and then telling them, you know, there's a tutoring center that you can receive help from, and just checking in with myself about what it is that I was struggling with, and then checking in with the people that I could rely on, or that I knew I had that support from. So definitely that self-doubt came from my imposter syndrome in my English class my first semester, thinking I was going to drop out and not make it. But hey, we did it 4.5 years later, and we graduated. So.
All right. Thank you for that. Aaron, what about yourself?
Yeah, there was similar to Lupita. There was a lot of obstacles. Like mentioned in my intro, you know, I received most of my education from a continuation high school. So when I graduated, to be honest with you, I didn't know about community college or 4 years or what that even was. So it was actually years later that my friend had told me about community college, and you know, I kind of just didn't know what it was, or what that even looked like. But so I graduated in 2012, and I enrolled in college in 2015. And mind you, that the reason that I enrolled was because I was kind of desperate in the position I was in my life. So just being in that, like my first class that I ever took in college was an English class. And you know, coming from the high school that I did, you know, I really learned more how to survive in the classroom instead of like knowing how to learn and you know, and comprehend the material. So I actually ended up dropping my English class my first semester. So I did quit. But thankfully, I met with the counselor, and they turned out to be Latino, and they referred me to a learning community. And from there, the learning community is called Puente. Um, and through Puente, similar to Lupita, I was able to grow my social capital. You know, like my networks, my support system, and especially me being an older student. They really, you know, made sure that I didn't fail, and that even though I did have a lot of self-doubt my first year, that I just continued to you know, do well in my classes and put in my best effort. Um, but yeah, if it wasn't for that support system and just having people that really believed in me and see potential that I didn't see in myself, it really, you know, it helped me get through my you know, my first year of college.
That's awesome. And I just wanted to point out too for our viewers, our students, that at Logan High School we do have the Puente program, and our neighboring community college, Chabot College, also offers the Puente program. So please make sure to look out for those opportunities. I know that our class, our next freshman class, just received or is getting ready to find out who has been accepted into the Puente program, and to keep on looking out for it. You may be able to transfer in after if you don't get into it initially as well too. So just be active and looking out for yourselves with that. All right, getting on to our third question. Did you ever encounter self-doubt? And if so, what strategies did you use to overcome them?
So kind of what Aaron was saying, I guess, even though like, I guess, even though like I've always been really involved in my community, I can definitely say there's been a lot of self-doubt ever since I was younger. Like even when I was just itty bitty little me in like third, fourth grade, I always doubted myself. I never gave myself enough credit than what I deserved. And like continuing on throughout my life like that. I feel like I've always had this lack of self-confidence, but it's been really simple. Like thinking about it now, it's just listen to what I like. You need to listen to what people are actually telling you. Like, don't just let their advice just like pass by your head one in one ear out the other. I feel like that's the reason why I struggled so much like all these years, not taking their advice seriously and just like really appreciating like what is the work that I've actually done. Because like I said earlier, I struggled a lot with I guess seeing my friends move forward in life, going to these awesome schools, and just felt like I was left behind. And sorry, but I feel like, you know, I remember I seeing this quote before somewhere on social media. It's like you keep going through the motions, or like you keep going through, I guess, like each step of your life trying to get to the next, I guess, goal. And you don't think about the time, that the dedication that it took to help yourself get there. And you need to remember that like when you're in that moment, you really need to appreciate it. And so I guess like just thinking about like the things that you've accomplished so far and like what you need, what you're looking forward to, just remember that, you know, it's all a work in progress. And the fact that that you are the one writing it, it's the most beautiful thing ever.
Awesome. Thank you. Lupita, what about you? Did you ever encounter self-doubt? And if so, what strategies did you use to overcome them?
Yeah, I think constantly, whether it's at school, at work, or just anywhere, as Camille shared also, it's something that I've struggled with since I was younger. And I think now that I'm a lot older, I am more reflective of it. And I'm like, wow, like I've doubted myself for a lot of things that I shouldn't have. And one of those being in college, as I shared earlier, my experience with my English class, but throughout college as well, just with my writing in general, or just asking myself, do I really deserve to be here? Did I really earn my spot at Cal, or am I doing this right? And like doubting myself along the way has not been the best, or has not been the healthiest thing. But really, as Camille also shared, just like tuning back into why it is that I'm doing this, and reflecting on how much I've come across and how much I've accomplished, despite many of the barriers that I've faced. And that reinforces sort of how much I've been able to accomplish. So when I doubt myself, I am more intentional about it now, and I'm more reflective of it. So I'm like, why am I having a hard time writing this paper, right? So then I'll stop and ask myself, and it stems back into a lot of that self-doubt earlier on, earlier in my life, or earlier in my academic career. And then just thinking back on recalling the times that I've successfully come across this writer's block, or I've successfully come across whatever challenge I came across, and just affirming myself. So I've started practicing daily affirmations, and that's really helped, because I'm starting to internalize that, you know, I am on the right track. I am doing this. I can do this. And I'm working to sort of dismantle that self-doubt that at the end of the day, I sometimes am my own barrier. So trying to work against that.
Lupita, if I can ask you just to talk a little bit more about working on the daily affirmations, because I think that's a practice that, you know, we hear often. A lot of our teachers talk about social emotional learning and trying to do different strategies, but the idea of like having this be something that's continual and ongoing, if you could share a little bit more about that and how it's helping you.
Yeah, of course. So I journal. I've been a lot better about it in the last coming months. And I feel like that's really helped me with self-affirmations as well. So when I started realizing that I was doubting myself a lot of the ways, I started working on those affirmations. So I started writing them down, and it's helped me organize them like around my room. I'll sometimes write them on my mirror. I'll put up sticky notes, and I have them written down on my journal where I constantly go back to, but having them up around my room or having them up around my workspace really helps, because sometimes I'm just like, I can't do this. Like I'm stuck with my work, and then just looking up at those affirmations of whatever it is that I need to see that reminder. So constantly seeing that reminder and constantly reminding myself throughout the day, those affirmations that I need to hear is what sort of helped me. So practicing them on a more regular basis by putting them up around my workspace or writing them out on my journal whenever I'm journaling. And that's helped me sort of work towards that self-doubt. So just having them around my workspace helps.
Thank you, Lupita. All right, Aaron, it's your turn. Did you ever encounter self-doubt? And if so, what strategies did you use to overcome them?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have encountered a lot of self-doubt to this day. I still encounter it. Um, when I first started community college is probably when I encountered it the most. Just because, like those questions of like, do I deserve to be here? Like, do I belong here? Like, can I even do this? Like, am I smart enough to be in the same classroom as like everybody else? And it was very challenging at first because I tried to deal with like those questions and those doubts by myself, and it wasn't really working out. But um, luckily, I started just meeting with the Puente coordinator like at least once a week, and just having him as somebody that I can kind of talk things through with. That definitely helped out just because he made me realize that, like just because of, my experience in high school or like the things that I did prior to college doesn't really define who I am as a student. And that, like the opportunity that I have in front of me is an opportunity that I should take advantage of and to make it the best of what I want to make it. Um, and it helped out a lot, and he introduced me to more people, and then they served as my mentors and everything as well. So whenever those self-doubts did come up, I just reach out to my people and just talk things through with them. But I encountered that even more when I got to Berkeley, just because it was just like a whole different ball game. So um, I had to do the same. I reached out to my counselors and mentors and everything, and asked them, just talk with them, and they just kind of reinforced the fact, like that I am capable of being a student, and that even though it can get hard and I'm gonna struggle more, that it is possible. I just gotta put my foot forward and just continue pushing forward. Um, and yeah, other than that, the strategy I use as well is similar to Lupita. Um, I tend to write down whatever I'm feeling or what I'm going through. So whenever I feel like that again, I kind of just go back and review how I felt, um, and then just reflect on those feelings and make sure to push through them.
Thank you for that. And just a reminder for Chavez students and also for all of the fourth and fifth graders, just we do have a counseling team here at Cesar Chavez. I'm very proud of the work that they do. So not only do they support students with academics and making sure to talk about different strategies that can be utilized with learning, but also giving support as far as like, struggles that are happening. Because in middle school, we tend to find that happening often. And I think about myself in middle school and, just it really being an awkward stage for different reasons. One of them going through puberty. Another one also is just trying to figure out who I am. And at the same time, just like the social circles that occur as well too. And, sometimes getting wrapped up in things or being excited about one thing, some idea, some sport, some music, but then from there, other friends like saying, you should be like this. So wanted to talk a little bit about this mind set and mind frame. We had a fantastic question that came up with our last panel, and let me just pop open that question really quick. And it was around anxiousness. A student asked, how do you deal with fear and anxiousness and getting a question wrong? Because we have that happen. It's already natural to occur inside of a classroom setting, But even more now through Zoom, we have students that aren't turning on their cameras, that aren't responding to chat. And just, sometimes that fear of getting a question wrong really holds people, students back from learning and engaging. So that's one I'm kind of throwing in off the cuff right now. So Camille, would you care to answer that first?
Sure. So I think honestly, I'll say that I've struggled with this too a lot, even before like the pandemic. I've always been like a really shy person, and I'm not gonna lie about that. But I think what has kind of held me so far in dealing with that kind of anxiousness and fearfulness is the fact that ultimately the main reason why all you teachers and administrators and all our staff here are to essentially help the students and not utilizing that resource is just kind of a bit, in my opinion, a little bit disrespectful at times, just because you guys put like so much effort into the work you do and you're doing your best and students are not utilizing that. So I think like if I think like if you really learn to appreciate the reason why we're here in the first place, and um I think that like if you don't utilize like the resources that you have, then you're not really going to, you need to take that leap of faith to really just answer the question, or I guess how do you put this? Man, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I think sorry, I'm a bit lost for words right now.
No worries, no worries. It is a difficult question, especially when we talk about our own learning process, and just having that fear of saying something wrong in front of your peers. It's a lot, and I think it goes past middle school, but maybe it really stems from here, because at elementary, many times it's like, hey, like I'm so ready, I got that answer, and then as you get a little older and the questions get a little harder, or it's not just like, hey, who cited whatever, and you're just not giving back a quick response. They really want to know what you're thinking and how you got there. So maybe if we jump over to Lupita and we can circle back, Camille. No worries.
This is also something that I personally struggle with. So it's a very important question, but it's very difficult. And I'm feeling a little anxious as I'm trying to answer the question myself right now. So that just comes to say it's still something that I'm working on. And also when I was in elementary school, I remember always constantly volunteering, and I felt, I guess, more confident participating or sharing and the answers. But also as I got older, and especially when I got to college, it became a lot harder. And yeah, and it's something that I've caught myself like often. I think I have the answer in my head, but it's very difficult for me to volunteer and raise that out loud and say, this is what it is. In college, I think what helped me a little more, it was harder in bigger classes for me, but what helped me a little bit more was being prepared, I think, and being open to making mistakes. So I started seeing that even if I didn't have the right answer, but I shared what I was thinking, or I was sharing my thought process, then my teachers were able to say, okay, how did you get there? And like backtrack to what it was that I was thinking. And then trying to understand whether the answer I was giving was right or wrong, even though they always said there's no right or wrong answer. And I started trying to live by that. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just I'm learning as I go. Something that helped me, I guess, in being a little bit more confident was like in college, doing the readings often helped me feel a little bit more prepared to what it is that we were going to be discussing in my smaller class sections. So that helped me a little, but even then I still felt really nervous about sharing. And I often didn't share when it was to the whole class because of that fear of being wrong. And then I think what really helped me early on was having a professor who encouraged those mistakes and said, you know what, you should be participating a little bit more. The entire class should be participating in a little bit more. And we don't really care about the right or wrong answers, and like really preaching about how it is that they care more about the learning process as opposed to sharing an answer that was right or wrong. And yeah, it's a very difficult question. It's a very important question, but it's something that I'm still working on. So I think just me, myself, working on being more open to making mistakes and learning from those mistakes is what's helped me.
Awesome, thank you. Aaron, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a very good question. And I agree with Lupita that, just being open to mistakes is very, I guess, helpful, and it's just getting over that anxiety and fear. But I think because I'm someone that's not really like, I don't really ask questions or anything like that, but uh I think a good way to get through that is just trusting the process, right? If I don't ask a question, then I'm gonna be left in a limbo and probably won't understand the material the way that the professor is teaching it. So I see it when I ask a question, I see it more of just a way of me making sure that I understand the material correctly. Because if I don't ask the question, I might feel lost later on in the class. Um, but also, it's just to make sure that I'm learning too, because um, in high school I didn't really ask any questions, and when I got to college, I started to ask questions, and it felt cool, because I was, I guess, being engaged and everything in the class. But um, there was various instances where I didn't participate, and when that happened, I would set up a meeting with my teacher or a professor, and just have like that one-on-one conversation with them. Um, and more often than not, they were actually, they were thankful that I asked the question, because they would say, "Yo, oh, like a few other students came in with a similar question and everything." So don't be afraid to ask that question, because you never know how many of your peers have a similar or the same question.
Awesome, thank you. Camille, no pressure, but do you want to jump in back again with this, or we can leave it alone as well too?
I can add on a little bit to what Lupita and Aaron saying. I definitely agree with a lot of what they said. And take like ultimately, you really need to be open to making those mistakes, and all you administrators and staff are really great in listening to them. And so I think, like, for me, like, it if like I think you just really need to take like small steps. For me, I would go to, instead of, like, I guess, like volunteering in class and like answering the questions, I would kind of go to office hours and practice with my professor, or maybe take a friend with me, and we'll practice on the problems or the concepts together. And I think if you just spend that time just like working up slowly to really just like get out of your comfort zone, and I think it would really help, just because especially when you get onto like harder concepts, with whatever major you'll be studying in college, or even right now, just being able to practice it more rather than passively studying would be a lot more effective when you take tests, and ultimately when you need to use it in the future.
Awesome, thank you, Camille. All right, so with that is a tough question, and yeah, it does take steps, and you do have to kind of take that leap of faith forward. And the bigger part too is I think about my own learning experience and how much more I learned from making mistakes than getting the question right, and just being okay with that. Like I was a former math teacher, so I was always big on checking answers. Like, go back and see if you got that answer correct or not, and then from there, can you find where you made that mistake? And trying to use that and incorporate it in other areas of study as well too. And then that's where you do need that feedback, and it's important to hear from your teachers or your peers about the mistakes that you did make and learning from them. Because we all make mistakes. Nobody here is perfect. Although your teachers are amazing, I'm almost certain that they've also had their learning experiences and trials and tribulations, as well as principles as well too. So with that said, I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today, and taking time out of your own studies and personal life to contribute to our learning community here at New Haven. We really appreciate your time, and we really want to wish you the best with your studies and future endeavors. Make yourselves proud, make your communities proud, and your families. We really thank you for joining us today. thank you very much. And for everyone out there in our Zoom webinar, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and wrap up at this time. So you are welcome to leave. All right. Thank you again. And panelists, if you could just hang tight really quick, we'll wait for the attendees to log on out. And we can end our session in a quick second. And there's Ms. Wakaj. Hey, Ms. Wakaj. Representing for Cereals. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Ms. Castillo, the new principal of Hillview Crest. She's rising up in the ranks, and we're really, really proud of her for everything that she's done. For sure. All right. Mount May, thank you again for helping us with this. This has been awesome. Your thought process and your energy definitely inspires me to keep thinking about what else we can do for our students in our community. So thank you for that. You're awesome. All right, with that said, looks like folks are logging out. Any other last little minute, last second contributions anybody wants to make before we go ahead and officially call this a day?
I just want to say thank you to the panelists. I'm so grateful for you all. I just really believe that seeds were planted today, seeds were sowed today, lives were potentially changed today. So I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to say thank you as well as a counselor, because I think the really important message was there's resources there, right? There's people on campus who are willing to help you. And I think sometimes the kids are, shy, reluctant. So to hear that from you guys was huge. So thank you guys. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Lori, if you get a chance, if you can stop the recording, that would be fantastic. Yeah, she's amazing. She's facilitating 2 meetings at the same time too. So I'm not surprised that she doesn't.
Go ahead. What did you need? Sorry.
Oh, if you could stop the recording.
I got you.
Get that.